You don't feel sick. You don't feel weak. You're not starving, dizzy, or out of control. You're just reaching for something. A handful of nuts, a biscuit, a protein bar, a few bites of leftovers. Not because you're hungry, but because it feels normal, automatic, almost responsible. And on the surface, nothing seems wrong. Your weight hasn't changed much. Your labs look fine. Your energy is okay. But inside your body, something important has quietly changed. Not in a dramatic way. Not overnight. And not because snacking is bad. It's because the body interprets repeated signals literally. And frequent eating, even without hunger, sends a very specific message. To understand what happens when you snack often without feeling hungry, we need to clear up one common misunderstanding first. Most people believe hunger is the main signal that matters. If you're not hungry, eating a little shouldn't count for much. But in human physiology, hunger is only one signal. Timing is another. Frequency is another. And consistency might be the most powerful one of all. In metabolic research, the body doesn't evaluate food emotionally. It evaluates patterns. When you eat, even a small amount, your body shifts state. Hormones adjust. Enzymes turn on or off. Fuel preference changes. This happens whether you felt hungry or not. In the first phase of frequent snacking, the changes are subtle. Each time food arrives, insulin rises slightly. Not dramatically, not pathologically, just enough to tell cells, energy is coming in. In controlled human studies, even small snacks trigger this response. And insulin's job isn't just to manage blood sugar. It's a traffic signal for energy use. When insulin is elevated, even mildly, the body favors storage and usage of incoming fuel over accessing stored fuel. The common myth here is that only large meals count. That small snacks are metabolically neutral. They aren't harmful by default, but they are informative. For people who are very insulin sensitive, active, and well-rested, this phase may barely register. Their cells respond efficiently, insulin clears quickly, and metabolism stays flexible. But for people under chronic stress, poor sleep, or long workdays, this signal lingers longer than expected. Not because something is broken, because stress hormones slow the return to baseline. In the second phase, the body begins to adapt to availability. Humans evolved in environments where eating required effort. Long gaps between meals weren't dangerous. They were normal. So when food arrives frequently, without hunger, the body interprets abundance. In metabolic research, this leads to a subtle shift away from fat burning between meals. Not a shutdown, a delay. Instead of smoothly switching between fuel sources, the body waits. It expects more food soon. Think of it like a hybrid car that never fully switches to battery mode because fuel keeps arriving in small bursts. The myth corrected here is that metabolism is always active in the same way. In reality, metabolism is adaptive. It responds to expectation. Some people feel no symptoms here at all. Others notice they don't feel truly empty between meals anymore. They feel flat, neither hungry nor energized. This varies strongly with sleep quality, muscle mass, and daily movement. In fasting-adapted individuals, this phase looks very different. Their bodies switch fuels efficiently, even with occasional snacks, because the system has learned flexibility. But for those who snack constantly from habit, not hunger, flexibility slowly narrows. The third phase involves hunger signaling itself. Ironically, frequent snacking can make hunger cues less clear. Hunger isn't just about low calories. It's a coordinated signal involving ghrelin, leptin, insulin, and the nervous system. When eating becomes frequent and automatic, these signals flatten. You may not feel hungry when you should, and you may feel cravings that don't match energy needs. The myth here is that hunger is unreliable, that it can't be trusted. In reality, hunger becomes unreliable when it's repeatedly overridden. Some people experience this as constant grazing without satisfaction. Others feel sudden hunger spikes that feel disproportionate. Individuals with high cognitive load, anxiety, or irregular schedules experience this more intensely. Their nervous system is already busy. The body doesn't separate mental stress from metabolic stress very well. In the fourth phase, digestive timing changes. The gut isn't designed for constant work. It's designed for cycles of activity and rest. Each eating event triggers acid production, enzyme release, and gut movement. When snacks arrive frequently, digestion overlaps. In metabolic research, this can subtly affect how nutrients are absorbed and how full someone feels afterward. The myth corrected here is that digestion is passive. It's not. It's energetically expensive. People with sensitive digestion notice bloating or heaviness. Others feel nothing, until years later when tolerance shifts. Again, variation matters. Age, gut health, and food choices all influence this phase. The fifth phase involves the brain's reward system. Eating without hunger often isn't about fuel. It's about relief. A pause, a break, a moment of control. In controlled human studies, food eaten without hunger still activates reward circuits, sometimes more strongly than hunger-driven eating. The myth here is that emotional eating is separate from normal eating. In reality, most eating contains emotional components. The issue isn't emotion. It's repetition without awareness. For some people, this phase leads to dependence on snacks for focus or calm. For others, it becomes background noise. Stress levels, personality, and work environment strongly influence this response. Now, none of this means snacking is bad. This is where balance matters. For athletes, pregnant individuals, people with high energy demands, or those recovering from illness, frequent eating can be appropriate and supportive. For people with a history of eating disorders, rigid control around snacking can be harmful. Awareness must never become restriction. For those on medications affecting blood sugar, appetite, or digestion, responses differ significantly. This approach is not for everyone. And it's not a rule. The real reframe is this. Food is not just fuel. It's information. When you eat without hunger, you're not doing something wrong. You're sending a signal. And the body responds by adapting, slowly, quietly, and logically. If snacking is occasional, varied, and responsive to real needs, the system stays flexible. If it's constant, automatic, and disconnected from signals, adaptation follows. Some people notice initial discomfort when they stop habitual snacking. Not because they need the food, but because stress hormones rise temporarily. Electrolytes shift. Cortisol adjusts. The body recalibrates expectation. This phase is often misinterpreted as damage or danger. In reality, it's transition. But forcing long gaps or ignoring hunger backfires. Gradual change preserves trust between you and your body. The goal is not fewer snacks. It's clearer signals. Quality matters more than quantity. Timing matters more than rules. When eating aligns with hunger, energy needs, and rhythm, the system works with you. When eating fills every gap, the system stops distinguishing important signals from noise. By the time people notice something is off, it's rarely dramatic. It's subtle. Less metabolic flexibility. Less clarity around hunger. Less satisfaction. Awareness restores that, not discipline. This isn't about optimization or perfection. It's about noticing patterns you were never taught to notice. In the next video, we'll explore why this